I'd like to weave us into a discussion on interoceptive awareness and how we can use this to build what I call unbreakable, unchanging, and ever-present resilience that can help us navigate any challenging situation we may be facing within ourselves, with the people around us, and the world situations that we might find ourselves involved in. So what is interoceptive awareness? It's innate ability within ourselves where we can directly perceive all the different aspects that are going on within us, our body sensations, our emotions, different movements of perception throughout our entire body, where we're getting information that's going to help us in both our ability to be with ourselves and to act and interact in the world around us with a kind of a loving kindness and compassionate way of being in the world. It's vital then with interoceptive awareness that we are able to tune into our physical body, because we want to think of the body as sending us all sorts of messengers that can help us gallop on our way and understand both our physical condition, our psychological condition, our relational aspects, and how we relate to the world and others around us, as well as for those of us who are interested, develop a deep spiritual awareness where we feel our interconnectedness with the world around ourselves. These are what I like to think of as simple approaches, but they do take time to bring into our life. So I like to think of practices that I'll be sharing with you today. Little and often we practice them all day long as we go about our life. And then in periods where we might just want to devote time to these kinds of approaches. Again, this is going to help us really feel connected with ourselves, because trauma, difficult situations that we may encounter in our life can sometimes cut us off from ourselves, where we can feel disconnected from ourselves and often a sense of alienation from the people or the world around us. So what's important, I want to understand in our discussion, is this sense of unbreakable resilience that I'll be talking about. This is something we want to feel that is present no matter where we are, who we're with, and what we're experiencing. So all states of consciousness can be present, and yet we feel this underlying sense of unbreakable resilience and well-being. There are three primary modes of experiencing our life. One is what we like to refer to as exteroception. This is where we're feeling the stimuli that is coming to us from outside our world, our environment around us, even receiving, we might say, the emotions, the thoughts of other people around us. So we have a sense of relationship in the world outside of ourselves. Proprioception, this is our ability to feel our body in space. So if you're, say, moving your arm with your eyes closed, you know where it is. So it's helping us have a good relationship with our body. And this third primary mode of sensing is what we call interoception. This is our ability to perceive information from our body sensations, our emotions, our thoughts, our memories, so that we can activate our life in such a way that we feel we're moving smoothly from any situation we might find ourselves in. So one of the things we need to do is awaken the body. And I'd love to present a couple of simple exercises. One is just what I call body sensing, and another is having a deep awareness of what I would call our own sense of presence or being, which we get through having a relationship with our body. This is going to enhance our ability to perceive both ourselves and how to respond appropriately in the world, as well as to perceive others and our relationship both with them and the world around us. And it's going to help us have a sense of being what I like to call present-centered. where we're really aware of both our inner and our outer environment, which helps restore this sense of unchanging and unbreakable resilience and well-being. So interoceptive enhances our ability to have what I like to call an empathic attunement. This is our ability to both be attuned to ourselves and all the signals and messages we're feeling within ourselves, but also to be able to perceive the others around us and what's happening within us. You may already understand this, but we have within us what we call motor or mirror neurons that help us develop this sense of resonance or attunement with others that allow us to interact in a way that we can have a sense of empathy and know what another is feeling or sensing and then respond appropriately. These neurons in our brain activate when we observe another in their actions or their facial movements. So it's interesting, if you find yourself, and you could try this experiment with a friend, sit with a friend and tell them something, but ask them to stay perfectly still or even frown a little bit and watch what happens in your nervous system. And then do the same thing, tell them the same story, but this time ask them to smile, to nod their head in agreement, and notice what just happens at a very deep social way in your body and how you respond as another person is mirroring back to you a sense of being attuned to what you're saying or uninterested in what you're saying. The neuroscience behind this is really, I find, fascinating. When we're just, in a way, doing nothing, resting back, most people are in recursive negative thinking. This is their default network, where we default into thinking about things that had to do with the past or how we're projecting them into the future. And we get caught often in negative recursive thinking about how we didn't do it right, how we wished we could have done it better. We also have what we call the negative bias here, where we're more apt to remember when somebody says something negative to us than when somebody says something positive to us. This is a survival instinct. And it also is where we feel our sense of I, me, mine versus you and theirs. So it's a sense of separation we experience when we're in our default network. Then we have what's called the dorsal attention network. And this is where we learn how to move our attention. So take a moment and let your attention open to the environment around you, to sounds that may be going on, sensations in your body, different emotions that might be present. And then unhook from your attention and watch how it just moves around by itself for a few moments. We can quickly see that our attention network is constantly roaming around. It's a survival mechanism. It's looking for threat. It's trying to help us stay safe in our environment. When this gets overactive through trauma, through long-term stress, it can stay turned on and overactivate parts of our brain like the amygdala, which is responsible for emotions. And often when we get hijacked by a particular emotion, it's because the amygdala has become overactive, or the hippocampus can become underactive with trauma. And this is where we are unable to have a sense of perspective. And so we can overreact given past trauma or future or present events that we're projecting into our life. There's a third, the control network. This is mediating between this default network and this dorsal attention network. And it's like the executive control center in our prefrontal cortex, which is helping us move through the world and create social relationships, create a sense of time and how to act in the world. This is the way these three networks are set up in our brain. And you can see while they're independent, from each other, they're also highly interrelated. So they send out neural network patterns to each other, so they're highly correlated as we move about in our life. Then there's what's called the present-centered network. When we become quiet or in a meditative quality or state of mind, this present-centered network tends to become more active. It's more, as you can see in the drawing, it's more in the right upper quadrant of our brain. And when our present-centered network turns on, what we see is high-level gamma being produced, which leads to a sense of non-separation or deeper intercorrelation of relatedness to ourselves, to the world around us and others. It also is linked to insight. The moment you have an insight, we can see in your brain, it produces high-level gamma, which is helping us come into what Dan Siegel has coined this beautiful word, infinite possibilities. So this is where we can open to new understandings that we can't have when we're simply being held hostage in our default network. And interestingly, when people are in their present-centered network and they're being under study, we see them giving reports of having a greater sense of well-being, a sense of peacefulness, equanimity, and a higher order of resilience when they're under stress. So what we want to do is down-regulate or deactivate slightly the default network so we can get out of these self-referencing negative thought patterns and come more into this present-centered network where we're open to insight and we can access information we otherwise can't find when we're just in our default network. So interoceptive awareness. What it helps us do is down-regulate the default network. It helps us rewire in our brain more effective and new strategies for having better experiences in the world, more effective ways of working with ourselves and the people around us. And it gives us this ever-present, unchanging sense of well-being and resilience the more we can activate this present-centered network. It's also going to help us have a sense of really being present and mindful in this moment, both mindful to what's going on inside of us and mindful to what's going on around us, so we can, we might say, engage more effective actions in the world with ourselves and the people we're relating with. And we want to see how, again, it repairs a sense of recursive negative thinking. And it also helps us regulate, we might say, our nervous system. Trauma, long-term stress, in a way, deregulates our nervous system where we can tend to overreact to situations. When we develop strong interoceptive awareness, we have much better ability to keep a sense of regulation in our nervous system and respond more effectively to what's going on around us. And what we find when we restore this sense of interoceptive awareness, it develops these qualities of empathy, attunement both within ourselves to the people around us, and this sense of connectedness. It also brings a deep core relaxation response within ourselves. So I want to stress that interoceptive awareness is something that is innate within us. We're hardwired to experience it. We just need to grow the capacity, as I was saying earlier, little and often through our day, plus hopefully practice periods a little bit at a time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes on a regular basis, so we can grow these neurons and their connections in our brain and rewire ourselves in favor of interoceptive awareness. It's a learnable skill. We just need to grow it. So what are some of the steps for developing interoceptive awareness? First, any journey starts with an intention. So an intention helps us set a goal, create a vow within ourselves that is going to move us from just thinking into more this interoceptive sensing awareness, and it's going to help connect us to our inner resource of well-being. So we want to find and nourish a sense of well-being. At first, it may feel like it's coming and going, but later on, we can feel how it's unbreakable, unchanging, and always present, no matter what else we may be experiencing. And I'm going to suggest a few ways experientially in this presentation so that you can begin to experience it for yourself. We want to welcome the body as sensation. Again, if you set attention free, but this time to roam around your body, take a few moments. Let your attention roam around inside your body. As we deepen attention to the body, our thinking mind begins to slow down, and we'll step out of this default network and come more into this present-centered network, and we'll become more aware of the different messengers of sensation throughout our body. So we want to have a body awareness from the tip of our toes to our fingertips to the crown of our head, both deep and on the surface sensations. Again, we know that trauma, long-term stress, and other experiences we may have in life can often cut us off from sensing our body. So initially, in developing interoceptive awareness, we're going to put a lot of attention on reawakening the body to its innate and inherent sensation. And we want to integrate what I call both a localized sense of being, this is our own felt sense of being or presence, and a more field-like or non-local sense of our presence. The localized sense of being or presence is going to help us develop that internal sense of interoceptive awareness. And the more non-local field-like quality of being is going to help us attune to the world and the people around us. So we have that deep sense of resonance with others and our ability to respond. And again, I'm going to lead us through a short exercise to begin to develop both this sense of localized and non-localized sense of being. And then we want to take what we learn, say, in practice sessions and bring it out into our daily life. Off the mat, we might say, kick the tires, take it for a test drive, come back, practice again, take it out. So it's this going back and forth between practicing in the comfort of your own home or environment and then taking it out into the world until we can really feel a seamlessness that whether we're by ourselves or in the world, we have this innate capacity for interoceptive awareness, whomever we're with and wherever we are. So, number one, affirm an intention. This is a vow or a determination that when we really feel it with our entire body and mind, it's going to help us stay on track. A good, firm intention is like an inner compass, a gyroscope that keeps us on track and keeps us steady as we move forward. Even when we may begin to go off track slightly, our intention is going to call us back. So it's really going to help us support and fulfill what I might call our vision or our mission that we're moving through life with. There are a lot of things an intention can do. It's going to help, again, sustain and nourish these neural connections in our brain. It's going to help us rewire strategies for deep self-regulation, or even when we're starting to get upset, it's going to help us stay steady and navigate the situation amidst whatever upset we might be feeling. And it's part of developing this sense of unbreakable resilience and helping us develop an internal sense of equanimity and even joy, no matter what else might be going on. Second, we want to connect to this inner resource. I think of this as a place within us where when we connect with it, it gives us a sense of refuge or a sense of being at home. When I shared these experiences in different homeless shelters, I often got the report back to me, thank you for showing us where our true home is. Now that I know where my home is inside, I can now deal with my homelessness. And part of the inner resource is connecting us to what eventually we will feel as an unbreakable sense of resilience and well-being. And it starts with this innate feeling of well-being, or just being. This is a quality within us we all carry, but we may have forgotten, and we need to learn how to nourish it in simple ways, which I'm going to share with you in a few moments. And then, as I was saying, we want to welcome the body as sensation. You can come back to this PDF of this PowerPoint that I'm sharing with you, because then you can go through and look at all these different ways, simple things like sensing our body activate within ourselves. It down-regulates our amygdala. As I said before, that's where we can feel oftentimes being held hostage by a particular emotion or sensation. And it's going to increase our ability to have perspective and to take simple and effective actions in the world. But it's also going to help us regulate and activate things like GABA, oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine. These are what are called the feel-good hormones. When we start to feel connected with ourselves and the people around us, our body naturally secretes these hormones. But we can learn how to activate and secrete them on demand to help us again develop this sense of internal well-being when we're in difficult circumstances. There are a whole host of other things that body sensing can do. It can help us work with pain, get a better night's sleep. It can help us navigate difficult emotions, as I said. And we're going to learn all about this as we develop interoceptive awareness experientially. The fourth, or what I'd like to do, is look at how do we welcome and respond emerging emotions and cognitions. This is something that's really important to developing this interoceptive awareness. We want to be able to be sensitive not just to the sensations in our body, but the feelings and emotions. We're relating to them as messengers that are giving us information, again, how to respond to the world around us, and to feel within us a quality of non-judging welcoming with whatever emotion, thought, or memory we might be experiencing. And our willingness to welcome emerging emotions is going to help us develop and activate this present-centered network. In studies, when people are willing to feel an emotion, be with an emotion, and inquire into the messages it might be sending, we see people stepping out of their default network of recursive negative thinking and step more into their present-centered network where they can gain a greater sense of self-regulation. And again, we want to resource and interweave this inner resource of well-being, which again is going to give us this access to these feel-good hormones, boost our immune system, get a sense of restful sleep, and all sorts of other qualities that we bring into our life. And we want to activate this sense of being, to shift from the default network into our more present-centered network, enhancing our sense of perspective and giving us an ability to regulate into empowering actions that we can take in the world, in our life. I'm going to take a break for a moment, get some water.
This is fascinating, Richard. I love the way you have it set up here.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll start again with being. We also want to develop, as I've said before, this deep sense of both a localized and a non-local sense of being. This is going to help shift us into our present-centered network, help us gain perspective, and give us a sense of our interconnectedness with the world around us. Trauma, stress interrupts our sense of connection with the world around us. So we really want to enhance the sense of interoceptive awareness within ourselves that reconnects us both to ourselves and to the world around us. And we want to integrate this body sensing into our worldly life, where we're interweaving it 24/7, 365 days a year. So I think of interoceptive awareness as not just something we do as a practice, but it's actually a way we learn how to live our lives moment to moment, wherever we are and whatever's going on around us. So we're learning to sense every sensation, every emotion, every thought, every memory, even feelings like shame, blame, and self-judgment. These are all messengers that we learn to attune to that are giving us the information we need to self-regulate and to move with effective and appropriate actions in the world around us and develop the sense of deep resilience with whatever's going on around us. So let's make a few experiential inquiries. So I'd love to share a few simple practices that can begin to develop our interoceptive awareness. So what I'd love you to do is take a moment with your eyes open or closed and just settle into a momentary comfortable position. You could be sitting, standing, you can even get up and walk around because you want to learn how to integrate this wherever you are, however you are. So as you're here in this moment, let your attention open and notice the sounds and the feeling of the environment around you. The different sensations, thoughts, or emotions that are present in this moment in your body. And then let your attention come down into one hand. Which hand is most calling your attention? If you would feel as if you're sliding your attention down your arm into this hand and welcome the sensations in the palm of the hand. Notice as you're doing this, how you're stepping out of the thinking mind more into just sensing, which is now shifting you from your default into your more present-centered network, the more you sense the hand. Then bring your attention into your opposite hand and welcome the sensations in the palm, fingers, back of the hand. Then gently feel your way back over to your first hand. Then feel your way back over to its opposite. And then feel both hands at the same time. Can you feel the shift out of your thinking mind more down into your heart? Or perhaps your belly? And as you're sensing both hands, might you bring one hand on your heart if it feels comfortable, or just imagine this, and your other hand on top of it. So both feeling hands are now on your heart. Feeling from your heart, feeling these two hands at the same time, what you're doing is actually activating a bit of this oxytocin, serotonin, feel-good hormones. So as you're doing this, sense into your body any sensations that might feel good, warm, perhaps a sense of peace. Feel welcome to relax your hands for a moment from your heart, but continue feeling the whole body and any sensations we might call of well-being. Then notice your attention and how it's moving about. Might you now let your attention move over to one side of your body, so you're welcoming not just the palm, but now the arm, shoulder, side of the body, including the leg, torso, head and face, just on one side. Then bring attention to the other side of your body. You're feeling your way, not thinking your way. Sliding attention down into the foot, leg, hip, torso, shoulder, arm, palm, head and face. Now just let attention slide back over to the first side of the body. Then over to this opposite side. And then feel both the left and right sides of your body as much as you can at the same time. Then to your capacity, feel into the front of your body, all the different sensations. Face, chest and belly, arms, palms, pelvis, legs, and feet. Then let attention move into the back of the body. Back of the head, neck, shoulders, arms. Back of the torso, upper and lower back, buttocks. Back of the legs and feet. Also have a sense of what's below you in your legs, feet, and even below the body. Then shift attention so you feel the top half of the body or even above the body. Then bring attention deep inside the body, the organs, bones, sensations of the muscles. Now bring attention to the surface of the body, the skin all around the body. Then feel all these different directions or quadrants at the same time. Front, back, left, right, below, above, inside, outside, everywhere at the same time. Notice how attention shifts from one quadrant to the other, trying to bring them all together, where you have to, in a way, let go of thinking. Feel all of the quadrants at once. Again, as you're feeling the whole body, if it feels right, bring one hand on the heart and the other hand on the heart and activate these feel-good hormones as you're sensing the body as a field of sensation. And any accompanying feelings of being or well-being, peace. There might be a sense of love or loving kindness. And then sense into this ease of simply being with your eyes closed or open. We've let go of where we've been. We're not yet ready to go somewhere else. And we're just taking a moment to simply be. So inquire, when you're just being, how might you describe your location as being from this simple felt sense of being? Where's your innermost center? Where's your outermost periphery? Many people report their innermost core feels more around their heart or their belly. And how being feels like it emanates out to the skin. Even if your eyes are closed, you may feel how it moves out around the body as a field of sensation. And then you might inquire, when you're just being, what's happening to your thinking mind and your sense of time? People often report how the thinking mind begins to slow down. They drop more into the heart. And we step out of time, because when we're simply being, we're outside of past, future, even the present moment, because we're outside of thinking. Then you might inquire, as being, how are you as being? As being, do you feel any sense of lack or need or want as being? Or as some people report as being, can you feel how being is beyond lack, need, or want? It's okay just as it is. Can you feel something about yourself as being that's okay just as you are, even though the body or the mind may need or feel a sense of lack of something? But something about our beingness is okay just the way it is. And then you might ask, as being, what am I? As being, do you need a book or another person to point being out to you? Or can you feel how being itself is familiar and easily recognized? And many people report, as being, they begin to feel a deeper sense of interoceptive awareness or sense of connectedness to themselves. So as you're being, welcoming the sensation in your body, heart-centered, nourishing feelings of well-being or peace, ease. In this moment, you're developing the capacity to meet the moment with a greater sense of perspective and openness to insight and effective actions. And also, you might ask yourself the question, who am I as being? Can you see as being? You could be chewing gum, eating, walking, talking as we're doing right now, interacting. And yet the feeling of being can still be here as an underlying resource that keeps us with a sense of grounded stability and ability to meet the moment, less reactive, more interactive. And then one more inquiry. What are feelings or ways you would describe if someone asked you, what is this felt sense of being? How would you describe being to another? What words might you use? What I'd love you to do is take some time and just be, and then write down words that you would use. Some of the words others have used is a sense of ground, home, peace, ease, love. I love the term well-being because it feels like all those put together gives me a sense of well-being, which at first can feel transient. When we're in a difficult circumstance, you might forget your ease of being. But with time and nourishing this inner sense of being and well-being on a constant basis, both in practice sessions of 5 or 10 minutes at a time, and then all day long in little bits, you can find that being is actually unbreakable. It's always present. It can recede sometimes more into the background. Our job then is to keep nourishing it in the foreground in the midst of whatever else we might be experiencing. And one more simple exercise. Letting your attention move around the body and welcome this feeling of being and well-being. Can you notice how you're more of a witness to it at times? It's like it's over there and you're watching it. Can you move from being a witness to what I call being witnessing? Open up your perspective so attention feels like it's everywhere and nowhere specific, as we were doing before, in front, behind, to the sides, below, above, inside, outside. Nourishing this felt sense of being. So you feel not so much that you're looking at being, but you're being as a witnessing presence. And feel how you as a witnessing presence have both a localized quality about you as presence and this more non-local field-like quality. And notice when you move into witnessing how and where the body experiences this. So we're really developing here this deep sense of interoceptive awareness of the body sensations at ever subtler levels. So keep nourishing this sense of being and well-being, and notice how even as you're listening to my words, you can still continue to feel and nourish this sense of being. You may notice how your attention draws into a particular word or phrase that I'm speaking, or it may draw itself into a particular sound in your environment momentarily, or a particular emotion that you might be feeling. But with whatever you're experiencing, whether it's an emotion, a sound, thinking, thoughts, my voice, keep coming back and interweaving this underlying felt sense of being amidst whatever else you're experiencing. And as you're doing this, you're nourishing your innate capacity for experiencing this sense of well-being as an unchanging resiliency that you can carry with you throughout your lifetime. That's going to support both your interconnectedness with yourself, with the people around you and the world, so that you can find a deeper sense of self-regulation, qualities of attunement with yourself and others, and be able to respond even when there may be a reaction that you're feeling in your body amidst whatever is going on. So you could find yourself in a movement of anger, sadness, grief, kind of a numbness sometimes. And yet this inner sense of being and well-being, if you continue to nourish, will give you the ground from which to meet these circumstances and navigate them in what I would call ever successful ways, where you can really feel that you are acquiring and eventually have acquired the skill to navigate any circumstance, any emotion, any experience, whether it's in your past or something that you find in the future. And I love this image of this little girl swinging around what I think of experiencing her own indestructible resilience that you and all of us have innate within us. We just need to take the time to nourish it little and often throughout our lifetime. There are resources through our website, iRest.org, where we have online courses that are really specifically designed to help establish these kind of resources within us, different experiments or inquiries, practices, you might say, where we can really develop this unbreakable inner resource of being and well-being, whomever we're with, and whatever we're doing, and however we are for the rest of our life. So I'm going to turn it back over to Lynn, and I look forward to seeing you in another place, perhaps in the marketplace sometime. I hope this has been helpful. This is something I do every day when I get up in the morning, and little and often throughout my day. I've been doing this for decades, and I really have experienced and have nourished into my own life this sense of what I think of as indestructible well-being, which I know you can too. So thank you for being with me today.
Well, thank you so much, Richard. I love how you have this set up and the decades of stillness and experience that you bring to this. You know, one of the things that, yours was one of the most watched interviews from 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And what person after person said was, it's the innate well-being. So when we have trauma, we have so much going on in our mind. We feel so damaged. And I know somebody who works almost every day, or probably every day, with your iRest practices. And she said it's the only thing that she can use to get into her body. She can't even focus on the breath. She's had too much trauma.
Right. Yep.
And so, just letting your shoulders get heavy and starting to really sense into your body. She's been doing this for about 3 years, working with, right after your first interview, actually.
Fantastic. That's nice to hear.
Helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Good
wanted
to hear.
Yeah, it is good to hear, isn't it, that your work is really spreading. And people can take iRest, weekend workshops and different things all over the world, I think now probably. I know certainly.
Well, they can take it all over the world in person, and also we've got these online courses now with Sounds True, Yoga International, so that we've got people now from every country doing the work in the comfort of their home, which is nice.
And so one of the things that you've been doing recently too is you just had a Yoga Nidra International Conference.
We did. And we filmed it, so it's available online. And that was fascinating because I brought in experts from all around the world. Mm-hmm. We had a stellar conference, in-depth workshops, and I made it so everybody experienced everything that was being taught, so we stayed on the same page, which was wonderful.
Thank you again. I'm just so happy that we were able to kind of update, and I love the way that you bring the neuroscience in, and so many people just feel like they're never going to get better.
Yeah.
And so what would your kind of closing words to be to them?
We can have the belief that I'm never going to get better, that something's broken and will never be whole again. What's important for me is for people to really feel and discover there's something in us that is incapable of being broken and is not in need of fixing or changing or healing. That's what we want to discover first. It's not something we're working towards to understand. It's something we want a person to discover and experience right at the beginning of their healing work. So then they're addressing what's broken or needs to be healed in the body and the mind from a place of unbrokenness, of wholeness. This is to me what's so vital in our need, in our healing regimens around the world, to help people understand there's something about us that's incapable of being broken, and we can find that and attune to it very quickly. It's simple. It just needs time to keep nourishing until we really can recognize it. Then we can really have the stability to face what's broken and does need fixing. So I think that's the most important piece I always want to both share and teach and have people experience as quickly as they can in their healing regimen.
Mm-hmm. When you work with such a big variety of people, from veterans to people with cancer and homelessness, and I mean, this is something that everybody can do. I guess that's what I'm getting at. So no matter where you are, you can tune in. You don't have to even understand it. You just have to practice it.
You know, we're working with children as young as 3, and we're working all the way through end of life and hospice. We're working with vets and active duty, homeless, people who've been trafficked, people who've gone through horrendous trauma in all sorts of ways, whether it's war, acts of violence, car accidents, plane accidents. I haven't found a person yet who within about 20 minutes can't experience this sense of wholeness, that never got injured and doesn't need healing. Then it's a question of continuing to reinforce it and then begin the healing journey, but keep weaving this sense of wholeness and well-being in amidst whatever else we're experiencing. So yeah, I have yet to find a person who can experience it. It's simple, it just needs time.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much, Richard, for spending the time with us today.
Thank you, Lynn. Always a pleasure. I look forward anytime